You're still tuned into the morning show right here on ETV on this thankful Thursday. It's time for us to step into our African spirituality corner. And Usiam Kize is back, and today he's joining us to unpack the issue of satisfying idlozi through ilobolo. You're probably like, Kanjani, Boopy, how? Well, he definitely is here to answer your questions. And should you have any, you're welcome to send through a WhatsApp on 072-411-6528. And he is here. He will answer those questions for you. Sia, welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me again, Bule.
How are you?
I'm alright yourself.
No,
Axis.
Look, let's talk about this idea of ukulobola idlozi. I think the general understanding of ilobola is through marriage. A guy sees a girl, wants to marry her, then they go through the ilobola process, you know, speaking to the uncles of the bride and so on and so forth. But there's never really been the conversation around ukulobola idlozi. I don't even think it's something that's known. Let's start with that. What is it?
So, ukulobola idlozi is to appease or satisfy, right, isalukwazi noma ikhehla that is coming into the family nalekwa. Because remember, as umndeni, as a male family, you guys are benefiting by receiving ikwam.
Okay.
Because there are certain gifts and there are certain types of imimoya that can only enter umndeni through marriage.
Okay.
Yabo?
Okay.
So, ikhona idlozi, sometimes things that fana njengabalozi nesindawo. Those are certain types of spirits nemimoya and spiritual gifts as well that can only enter the family through marriage. So you are benefiting as umndeni, number one, for the gifts, but also for the spiritual diversity.
Okay.
So in order for lelo salukwazi to be fully operational and isphiwo to be fully operational, whilst inside umndeni wakamkhize, they need to be appeased and they need to be satisfied. Because kahle there's two separate entities. Kukhona wena as ubulele. Then kunale salukwazi that you are also coming with.
Sure.
So ngesikhathi thina skipper inkomo ezu-10, sikhipha inkomo ezu-10 for wena.
For me.
Right?
Okay.
But unomunye umuntu that you are also arriving with naye that they need to be acknowledged and they need to be appreciated. Then sikhipha inkomo for yena. Now, the nice thing with this is that it's most of the time just one. That's it. Yeah, that's one.
Okay.
But for when people get creative and they say 6, 7.
But when we think or when we look at African spirituality and the idea behind ilobola, generally they will say it's to unite the two families, both physically and ancestrally. So why then does that not then appease isalukwazi or hambanalo? Why then do you have to do that separate one for that ancestor that walks with you, that carries the gift?
Because yabona, the way, and even in the way in which you do it for idlozi, it's different to the way in which you do it for wen.
Okay.
So when we don't have to have physical cows, we can have inkomo yephepha, which is physical cash. Yabo, that's fine. But for ukulobola idlozi, you actually have to have a physical cow that is going to be slaughtered at your homestead. Yabo? So that is because that process of ukuchitha igazi and that process of ukushisa impepho and that process of ukuyikhulumela lenkomo is to satisfy idlozi so that idlozi lingaqhubeka nokusebenza. Right? Because if you want idlozi ukuthi iqhubeke nokusebenza, idinga amandla. When you are giving it that animal or that sacrifice or ilobolo, you are giving it strength ukuthi liqhubeke ukusebenza. You are giving it capabilities ukuthi, you know what, you are no longer going to operate only in the family kabulela, but you're also going to operate in the family kamkhize as well. And you're also making sure that less people, when ubulela has passed away, can be passed on from generation to generation. So this is another reason why some young healers are lacking full access or they lack capacity in their gift because their gift came with isalukwazi that married into the family. But that gift was not lobolat. Therefore, they have accepted a gift that is only 50% functional.
Okay.
Yabo, but twas is people that's only 50% in its functionality. And they're wondering why after intwaso still lento ayisebenzi completely.
Sure.
Yabo? Because, and that's why I always say, what is the history of lesiphiwo sakho? Ungajahi ukuya entwasweni when you need the history of lesiphiwo and the person who originally brought it into umndeni.
What happens then when it's two people that are gifted that are getting married? Do we lobola each other, or how does that work?
This is so. I think there was one celebrity couple.
Dineo and Solo.
I think
yeah.
maybe it was them Angas.
Yeah.
That paid lobola for each other.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
I don't know who advised them, but by there's no need for that. It could have been far cheaper for that, and they could have fixed it all for 5,000. Buy 2 goats for 2.5. Tina lakamkhize sihlaba imbuzi, your family bahlaba imbuzi. Siyahlanganisa imimoya.
Oh,
right? We exchange halves.
Okay.
Done. So instead of paying 50,000, start to 5,000. Tenga imbuzi ka 2.5. Tenga imbuzi ka 2.5.
And just unite.
Done. Tina siyahlaba ubaba my side. Ashisa impepho athi cha bana batala le mbuzi le ukuhlanganisa imimoya between usiyabonga nobulela.
Okay.
Tatu half, and we send it to your family. Your father on his side, he does the same thing. Tatu half, letter to that family, this family.
Okay.
Imimoya seyihlanganisiwe. There's no need. There's no circumstance or situation in African spirituality which requires people to lobolana each other.
Okay.
I honestly don't know where it comes from.
It's the one thing that would have made sense, because if I'm the gifted one and okay, wait, here's a question,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
If I'm the gifted one and you are marrying me, you'd lobola me, right?
Yes.
If you are the gifted one and you are still marrying me, do I lobola idlozi lako?
No.
How does that work
Because
then?
le kwamazam are staying kamkhize. They're not moving into umndeni kabulele, right? Whereas wena ubaba wakho ngithi uyahlaba inkomo whatever akhiphe, and then my father uyakungenisa.
So that ikwamazam zizosebenza kahle kwamkhize.
They are moving from one family to another.
Okay.
Whereas if mina as a man, I have ispiwo, I am not moving from there to
You are still in that homestead.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
It-
So now when the cow has been bought, what then is the process that needs to be followed for that understanding between the ancestors?
So, inkomo ayihambi yodwa ngithi.
Yeah.
There needs to be isithebe esincane siphahla isithebe esikhulu. So there needs to be a smaller animal or goat or a sheep that accompanies le nkomo.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So both of them need to go to your family.
Okay.
They would go to your family, and then bazophahla and ngithi esibayeni inkomo is waiting to be slaughtered, right? Then baphahla ngembuzi. Okay? Bayasho ukuthi cha bantu abadala ngale mbuzi lena siphahlela inkomo, which is ilobolo for idlozi.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
Then they slaughter this goat. My family must come back with half of that goat, right? And then
Okay.
the rest remains with
with
your family.
my family.
Then they slaughter that cow, and then kudliwe umqombothi yabo kube mnandi. Finished.
Okay.
Very simple, very straightforward process.
We are talking to Mkhize about the idea of ukulobola idlozi. Maybe you have some questions pertaining to this discussion. You're welcome to send them through on 072-411-6528. Does this affect a person if maybe they then do not believe in things like this? Maybe I'm gifted. I know maybe I'm gifted, and I do it in the church. I'll get my gifting in the church, and I don't believe in this. Does this then tend to affect the family then in marriage? What are some of the repercussions if I don't do it and I am a gifted person?
So it's definitely going to affect you and your husband,
Okay.
but it's also going to affect your capacity to operate as a healer, esontweni as well.
Okay.
But it's also going to affect ingane, most particularly. So now all of a sudden what's going to happen between you and your husband is what I call spiritual tension. Right? So there's going to be spiritual tension between your husband because manje idlozi there is a third of you that is unsatisfied.
Okay.
So there's going to be an element of disconnect between wena and the person that you're married for.
Okay.
Things like intimacy are going to be a problem. Things like infighting, arguments, those are going to be a couple of issues that are going to arise. Now remember, inhlanhla emsebenzini outside comes from umsebenzi wedlozi. If isiphiwo sakho has umsebenzi wedlozi as well, right? This is where you draw your prosperity and your luck and your wealth. Then what's going to happen is your normal 9 to 5 is also going to be affected. The money coming in and the ability for because remember, ikwama they provide luck for other things, not just for healing, but for wealth and prosperity. So now you're all of a sudden seeing like, okay, fine. But if business likasiyabonga manje is also being affected.
Sure.
Your business outside of the home is also being affected. Yabo.
Okay.
Ingane esikoleni are also being affected as well. They're not performing academically. Their growth is stunted. Their development is also stunted because lesalwazi les noma lelikhehla that with le kwama has not been satisfied.
Okay. Mkize is with us on the morning show. We're talking about uklobola idlozi. 0724116528 is our WhatsApp line. Send through those questions if you have any. And then when we get back, we will get into answering those questions. Stay with us. It's a thankful Thursday here on the morning show. Welcome back. We are joined by Mkize, who is our African spiritual advisor. And today we are unpacking the importance of uklobola idlozi. We are answering a whole lot of questions. You're welcome to send yours through. Our WhatsApp line is open 0724116528. Now, Sia, just before we went to ad break, we spoke about the celebrity couple that lobolaed each other because they are both gifted, right? And you then said that they didn't need to do that. Just the buying of imbuzi, combining was enough. But now things like that happen where now we follow the wrong processes and it's been done. Are there any spiritual repercussions, number one? Number two, what then happens? How then do I fix it if I've done it wrong?
So first of all, your family, ubabwaka would need to do imbuzi or go to Krelez to apologize for what's been done.
Oh, right?
Then, law 50,000 or 25,000 that my family has accepted as the income
goes back.
Right?
Okay.
Because now there's a debt. You see, the process of ilobolo is very spiritual, which is, you can't not believe in ancestors and practice ilobolo. Because ubabwako, before he releases inkomo esibayeni, he has to announce idlozi abike ukuthi bantu abadala inkomo enje nanje nanje is going to leave for these reasons and these intentions. Wena as ubulele uyangenisa uyaziletha inkomo.
Okay.
Azikho inkomo ezingakhishwa for wena.
Okay.
Wena ugcwalisa isibaya.
Okay.
You don't empty isibaya.
Okay. Right? Now we are all joining them Mkize side. We are going to uplift them Mkize side. But there's still the producer side that needs to be fulfilled, right? If then we are both gifted and I'm now coming into your family, does my family then not benefit from your spiritual gifting like they have from mine before I got married?
Yebo, they will benefit.
Okay.
And it is a lifelong commitment. Even if you and I divorce, yabo, I would still have the responsibility and the duty to look after your family. Yabo. So if there's something evelayo ekhaya, right? The roof needs replacing, they need help with this, they need help with that. They must always have another son, i.e. usiyabonga, that they can call upon for assistance.
Okay.
So they will still benefit, but my gift is still not migrating and changing surnames. Yabo. Whereas Ispiwo Sako is still going to change surnames.
Okay. Now, when talking about uklobola idlozi, there's then also the discussion of ukunga. What is that?
So ukunga idlozi is to, what's the English word for ukunga? It's another way of saying to satisfy or to appease idlozi.
Okay.
Uklobola idlozi is you can say it's a form of ukunga.
Okay.
Ukunga, you can even do it for ingane, ukunga ingane.
Okay.
So you buy. I think manga posis. I think amapedi sometimes they don't do inklawulo, but instead they buy like clothes, food, and all of those things for ingane.
Okay.
Yabo. When my parents decided, they said they spoke to Umandlo, said, okay, fine. What would you like in order for us to go to ukunga ingane? Yabo. So whether it be a car seat, whether it be I don't know, school fees, or whatever the case may be, whatever you decide, ukunga can be anything that you feel that idlozi would like.
And it happens after the coming together of the two families.
Sometimes ukunga can happen before marriage.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it can happen, okay, senya tandana and you have a child.
Okay.
So idlozi is like, okay, you haven't gone through the process of ilobolo yet, but you guys are together, you're living together, and you have a child.
Okay.
There needs to be some sort of appeasement for mina.
Okay.
Because manje sekunengane. Sesinikeze ingane, especially if they've given you a male heir.
Okay.
So then idlozi might say, okay, ngifuna ukuthi ulikhunga idlozi.
Okay. Makes sense.
But this thing but we'll talk about it another time, of dating spiritually gifted people.
Yeah, no, that is a topic on its own.
I think someone said I must Thokoza idlozi when you talk. I'm like, I've never seen my mother at Thokoza, Baba.
But we will, that needs its own day, and we will hopefully get into that. But we've got a couple of voice notes that have come through. Let's roll them. Hello.
This is Lebo from Bloom. Putsia, I'm about to venture into my second marriage, but the problem is Obaba Mam Washona years ago, and he was the only child. And my mom is remarried, and she was also the only child. So in this kind of situation, angazi, because the only person I have okwamanje ugogoam, and I don't know in this kind of situation who is supposed to accept amalobola, like who negotiates on my behalf. Ngiyabonga.
So she's about to get into her second marriage. Her father has passed on, and now she's just confused about the ilobolo process and how that would run.
So first of all, she needs to understand. Well, husband number 2 needs to understand what happened with husband number 1.
Okay.
So if Watelo and everything was done with husband number 1, then he needs to understand what ingane that he might have with her now will be ilongwe from the first surname. Okay. And that needs to be cleansed when they do have children, right?
Sure.
And that's the first thing that she needs to understand. Because ugogo is the only person who's alive who can accept amalobol.
Okay.
Akuba uyena ugogo.
Maramela ayibeke edlozini qala.
Yeah, obviously ugogo uzochaza ukuthi cha bantu abadala isimo.
Okay.
Imina kuphela umuntu omdala okhona. But that in itself, the fact that ugogo is the only person around, kusho ukuthi kunesifo esikhona emsamo.
Okay.
That
so
in
she
itself
needs
to
get that
also
clarity.
be. But to answer her question, let it be ugogo. But obviously ugogo naye akachaza emsamo ukuthi kwenzakalani and why she's the one accepting amalobol.
Okay. We have unfortunately run out of time, but thank you so much for today's discussion. Now it's brought on another one of dating a spiritually gifted person, which we will hopefully get into the next time Sia joins us in studio. Thank you so much for sending through your voice notes. This is where we're going to wrap it up as far as African spirituality is concerned. And then, of course, we look forward to having Sia back with us in studio. Lots more still coming up right here on The Morning Show. Stay with us.